do the gluteal region. So gluteal region is also called the back of the hip. As a rule of the anatomy, whichever part we want to dissect or explore, we should know what are the arrangement of the bones in that region. So in this position, the bones in the middle part is the sacrum. The dorsal surface of the sacrum is visible here, with the sacroiliac joint, and sacroiliac joint is formed by the ilium bone on the other side, with the iliac crest, the outer lip, intermediate area, and the inner lip, with the posterior superior iliac spine, and below is the posterior inferior iliac spine. And then this is the sacrum, where it ends. There is a one or two pieces of the coccyx vertebra. And these are the dorsal sacral foraminas, and this is the median sacral crest. This is the greater sciatic notch, this is the ischial spine, and this is the lesser sciatic notch, and here is the ischial tuberosity. And laterally here lies the acetabulum, with the head of the femur articulate to form the hip joint, with the lesser trochanter, the shaft of the femur, with the neck of the femur, and the greater trochanter, and the lateral border of the femur. This is subcutaneous, skin is very near to it. So this fold in the gluteal region is called the gluteal fold. And this gluteal fold is created because of the presence of the lower border of the gluteus maximus muscle. Between the two gluteal regions, this line represents the natal cleft. So this is how we do the bones in that region. This is the gluteal surface of the hip bone, and here lies the three gluteal lines. One gluteal line which is very near to the posterior superior iliac spine and runs parallel is called the posterior gluteal line. Then a gluteal line which is lying in front of it, and it starts from the iliac tubercle of the outer lip and descend downward, almost parallel with the posterior, is called the anterior gluteal line. And one line which is lying almost parallel to the acetabulum is called the inferior gluteal line. So this gluteal surface is rough because of the attachment of the origin of the gluteal muscles. So these three lines are there. And then this is the ischial tuberosity. Now there are two ligaments which are stretching across. One is called the sacrospinous ligament. It starts from the sacrum, dorsal surface, and it is attached to the tip of the ischial spine. So this is called the sacrospinous ligament. Sacrospinous ligament. Then there is another vertical ligament which starts from the sacroiliac joint and the dorsal surface, lateral surface of the sacrum, and it crosses the sacrospinous ligament, and below it is attached to the lateral border of the and overlap the sacrospinous ligament, lateral surface of the ischial tuberosity. Because of the attachment to the ischial tuberosity, this ligament is called sacrotuberous ligament. Sacrotuberous ligament. And this converts the greater sciatic notch into greater sciatic foramen and lesser sciatic notch into lesser sciatic foramen. So this is how the conversion is there. Now this is the posterior surface of the femur bone, and the posterior surface of the femur bone, it represents the greater trochanter laterally, which is subcutaneous, and this is the lesser trochanter. From the greater trochanter to the lesser trochanter, there is a raised area of the bone, and this is called the intertrochanteric crest. Remember, anteriorly there is an intertrochanteric line, but posteriorly the raised area of the bone is there, so it is called the intertrochanteric crest. In the upper part of this crest, there lies a fossa or a depression. This is called the trochanteric fossa. Or also called the obturator fossa. And in its middle part, it bears a tubercle. This is called the quadrate tubercle. Quadrate tubercle. So they are the features of that is called the greater trochanter. Then in the upper part of the shaft of the femur, there lies a rough triangular area, and this is called the gluteal tuberosity. Gluteal tuberosity. So these bony points should be familiar before we go into the detail of the gluteal region. All the features of the hip bone as well as the upper end of the femur, we should be very much clear about them. Then only we can properly understand what is the gluteal region. Now the gluteal region dissection, when it is done, we make a cut in the midline, the natal cleft. Another cut is made over the gluteal fold, and another cut is made along and parallel to the upper part of the iliac crest, and then we refract whole of this skin laterally to see what lies below it. So below the skin there lies the superficial fascia, which contains cutaneous artery, veins and nerve, and below that lies the deep fascia. So this deep fascia is the same fascia that we have done, that is the fascia lata, but when it is present in the gluteal region, it is called the gluteal fascia. The attachment we have already done, so it is attached to the outer lip of the iliac crest, then posterior superior iliac spine, posterior inferior iliac spine, then entire length of the sacrotuberous ligament. From here it reaches the ischial tuberosity, and from ischial tuberosity it reaches the ischiopubic ramus and then pubic symphysis. So that we have already done in the front of the thigh region. Now when we remove this gluteal fascia from here, then we see below is the muscles. So muscles in the gluteal region, they are, number one is the gluteus maximus, the gluteus medius, gluteus minimus, and then there is a piriformis muscle, then there is a quadratus femoris muscle, then there are superior gemellus, and there is a tendon of obturator internus muscle we encounter here, and then inferior gemellus. So these muscles we see in this region. We take one by one. First of all, we will take the piriformis muscle, because this muscle is very, very important muscle of the gluteal region, lying very deep, but it is very important. So this piriformis muscle is called piriformis because it is pear shaped. As you eat the fruit pear, so because of the pear shaped structure, it is called the piriformis. Now, origin of this muscle is from the ventral surface of the sacrum, against the second, third and fourth segment of the fused sacrum. And from all these origin, this piriformis muscle comes out of the greater sciatic foramen. And this pear-shaped piriformis muscle tapers, the tendon becomes narrow, and it is inserted over the top point of the greater trochanter. Top position of the greater trochanter is the insertion of piriformis muscle. So it is a pear-shaped muscle, piriformis. It is its superior border, this is its inferior border. So many structures are related to the superior and the inferior border of the piriformis. So piriformis, the structures related to the superior border, they are the, which is coming out of the greater sciatic foramen and running upward, a nerve, a artery and a vein. Similarly, from its lower border, again a nerve, a vein and a artery goes there. So these neurovascular bundle, the upper one is called the superior gluteal artery, vein and nerve, because they are lying on the superior border of the piriformis. And all these three structures related to the inferior border of the piriformis is called the inferior gluteal artery, vein and nerve. So it is according to name because of their relation with the piriformis. Then there is another muscle that is called the quadratus femoris muscle. So as the name suggests, quadratus femoris muscle is quadrangular in shape. And this muscle takes on from the lateral surface of the ischial tuberosity, and this muscle runs laterally and it is inserted over the quadrate tubercle. So here lies the quadrate tubercle. So this is the muscle, quadrangular in shape. So quadrate tubercle is made for insertion of quadratus femoris muscle. Then from the lesser sciatic foramen, and this is the upper is the greater sciatic foramen. A tendon of the muscle comes and it is inserted over the trochanteric fossa or the obturator fossa. This is the tendon of the obturator internus muscle. Obturator internus muscle. Now a muscle is lying superior to it, is called the superior gemellus. And this muscle is inserted over the tendon of the obturator internus, and it takes origin from the dorsal surface of the ischial spine. Similarly, another muscle which is called the inferior gemellus is inserted over the lower border of the obturator internal muscle is called inferior gemellus. And this also takes origin from the ischial spine, lower border of the ischial spine. Then, I am touching the dorsal surface of the ischial spine. This dorsal surface of the ischial spine is related to a very important relationship that is called pin relation. You have to remember pin relation. From medial to lateral, so P stands for pudendal nerve. Pudendal nerve with root value S2, S3, S4. It's a somatic nerve. I stand for internal pudendal artery and the vein, and N stand for nerve to obturator internus. So these three structures comes from the greater sciatic foramen and enters into the lesser sciatic foramen. One is the pudendal nerve, then internal pudendal artery and internal pudendal vein, and lastly the nerve to obturator internus. So these are the structures coming from the greater sciatic foramen and entering into the lesser sciatic foramen. So these are the deeper muscles of the gluteal region. Now all these muscles, they are now covered by the gluteal muscles. Another very important structure from greater sciatic foramen is descending down is the sciatic nerve. Sciatic nerve lies in, it is formed on the ventral or anterior surface of the piriformis muscle in the pelvis with the root value L4, L5, S1 and 2 and 3. It is the thickest nerve of the human body, sciatic nerve. And this nerve is formed on the anterior surface of piriformis. Then it touches the bony rim of the greater sciatic notch. And then this nerve comes over the, touches the hip bone, ilium, and then it comes and appears over the lower border of the piriformis muscle. Lower border of the piriformis muscle. After this, the sciatic nerve, after touching the bone, greater sciatic foramen, notch and the ilium bone, now it appears in the gluteal region. Below the lower border of the piriformis muscle, and there is a red carpet welcome for the sciatic nerve. It's called red carpet welcome because now the sciatic nerve enjoys the bed made by the muscles which are rich in blood supply, so they are called the red carpet. First muscle over which the sciatic nerve is lying is the superior gemellus, then obturator internus, then inferior gemellus, and then quadratus femoris muscle. So this nerve runs over these muscles and it lies in between the greater ventral and the ischial tuberosity. So it descends in the gluteal region. And then it is covered by the gluteus maximus lower border, the gluteal fold, below which now the nerve is now naked. Now the nerve is no longer covered by the muscles. So it comes from the lower border of the gluteus maximus muscle and no muscle is now covering it. So this is the oblique course of the sciatic nerve. The thickest nerve, if we measure the diameter of this nerve is 2 centimeter. It resembles the thickness of a little bit more than your little finger. That is the sciatic nerve. With the root value L4, 5, S1, 2 and 3. So that is the how the neurovascular and the muscles, they are related in the deep, touching the bone, the hip bone and the femur in this region. Now comes the gluteal muscles. The gluteal muscles, one is called the gluteus minimus, medius and maximus. These muscles are named according to their morphology. Gluteus maximus is the largest muscle, having large area of origin and large area of the insertion. Minimus is the minimal area for the origin and minimal area for the insertion. The medius is called medius because it lies or it is sandwiched between the gluteus maximus and the minimus. So this is how we name these gluteal muscles. Now first we will take the gluteus minimus. As the name suggests, this muscle takes origin between the anterior and the inferior gluteal line. So this area is for the origin of the gluteus minimus muscle. And gluteus medius muscle takes origin the area between the anterior and the posterior gluteal line. So this area is giving the origin of gluteus medius, and this is the gluteus minimus muscle. Both muscles, they are almost parallel, and their insertion is also very parallel. So the gluteus minimus muscle runs downward. This medius muscle, from its origin, this muscle runs over the minimus muscle, overlapping it, and then this muscle is inserted over the lateral surface of the greater trochanter. Lateral surface of the greater trochanter is the gluteus medius insertion. Both the tendons of minimus and medius, they are parallel to each other. And the nerve supply of these two muscles is the which is near to it. Naturally, the superior gluteal nerve. The superior gluteal nerve supplies both the muscles, medius as well as the minimus, because they are near to the muscle. Now the last comes the gluteus maximus muscle. As the name suggests, it is the larger muscle, and this muscle origin is also very large. Number one, this muscle takes origin from the area behind the posterior gluteal line. So this area, number one. Plus from the posterior gluteal line. Number third origin is from the outer lip of the iliac crest. Then posterior superior iliac spine and posterior inferior iliac spine. And then from the entire length of the sacrotuberous ligament. Entire length of the sacrotuberous. And reaches the ischial So this is the largest origin of this gluteus maximus muscle. After this origin, this muscle fibers runs downward, backward and laterally, overlapping all the muscles we have done. Plus it also overlaps the ischial tuberosity. And muscle, it converges towards the gluteal tuberosity. So this is the upper border of the gluteus maximus, coming to the ischial tuberosity. Then the lower border of the gluteus maximus, forming the gluteal fold. It comes here, the lower border. And also the muscle fibers, they converge towards the ischial gluteal tuberosity. But as the muscle is very big and gluteal tuberosity is very small, so whole of the muscle cannot be inserted to it. Then, as we know, there lies laterally There is the iliotibial tract. We have done it. The 3-4 times thicker condensation or thickening of the fascia lata laterally and superior attached to the iliac tubercle. This iliotibial tract. So rest of the muscle fibers of the gluteus maximus overlapping already what we have done into the iliotibial tract. So iliotibial tract gives also the insertion of the gluteus maximus muscle. The gluteal tuberosity and iliotibial tract both are the inserting area of the gluteus maximus, the largest muscle of the gluteal region. This is the upper border, this is the lower border of the gluteus. So it covers everything we have done the artery veins. And the lower border of the gluteus maximus will give the sciatic nerve comes and appear here. Above the lower border of the gluteus maximus, the sciatic nerve is covered by muscles everywhere. But below the lower border of the gluteus maximus, it again becomes naked and not covered by any muscle. And this point is very vulnerable and it may lead to the clinical problems. Another nerve we see coming from the lower part of the piriformis is nerve to quadratus femoris. So this nerve to quadratus femoris runs anterior to the superior gemellus, obturator internus and inferior gemellus, and then this nerve enters into the anterior surface of the quadratus femoris and supplies it. Medial to the sciatic nerve or sometimes posterior to the sciatic nerve, another cutaneous nerve comes and which pierces the deep fascia and becomes subcutaneous in the middle of the thigh and reaches up to the knee joint. So this nerve is called the posterior cutaneous nerve of thigh. Posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh. So this nerve supplies the skin of the back of the thigh. So it is also coming from the lower border of the piriformis. So many structures are coming from below the lower border of the piriformis. Number one, pin relation we have done. Number two, inferior gluteal artery, vein and nerve. Then this posterior gluteal nerve of thigh. Then sciatic nerve. And then nerve to quadratus femoris. All are coming from the greater sciatic foramen and all are coming from the inferior border of the piriformis muscle. You have to remember. So that is how we do the. Now this gluteus maximus nerve supply is the inferior gluteal nerve. Because the inferior gluteal nerve is coming from the lower border, the inferior border of the piriformis, and immediately it enters into the gluteus maximus muscle because this muscle is overlapping here and near to this. So always remember, superior gluteal nerve supplies two muscles, medius and minimus, and inferior gluteal nerve only supplies only one muscle, that is the largest, gluteus maximus. So this is how we do the gluteal region of the human body with all its muscles, artery, veins and the nerve. Now comes the applied anatomy of this. In the applied anatomy of the gluteal region, most common thing about the gluteal region is the intramuscular injections. So this gluteal region is very optimal site for the deep intramuscular injections. And there is a definite area for the intramuscular injections. So we divide the gluteal region into 4 quadrants by a vertical line in the middle of the gluteal region, and another we take from the middle of this sacrum, a horizontal line. So one vertical and one horizontal line divide the gluteal region into 4 areas: upper medial and upper outer quadrant, lower outer quadrant, lower inner quadrant, or medial lateral lower and medial lateral upper or superior. So out of these four areas, for the intramuscular injection, we prefer this area. That is the upper outer quadrant. Upper outer quadrant is the optimal injection area for it. All these three areas, they are not preferred. Why? Only because of the sciatic nerve. So in this area, all the three muscles, the gluteus medius, minimus and maximus, they are overlapping each other. So injection in this any region is the safe, and it will go into the directly into the three muscles, and it will be readily absorbed because muscles, they are rich in blood supply. If we inject here in the lower outer quadrant, accidentally the injection may go into sciatic nerve and it may be damaged or painful condition. In this region also, sciatic nerve will be. In the upper region also, the sciatic nerve is present. So these three areas, they are unfit for the injection. Only preferred is the upper outer quadrant of the gluteal region. So that is the first. Then second is the sciatica. Now sciatica is the root pain along the distribution of the sciatic nerve, and patient feel the weakness of the muscle supplied by the sciatic nerve along with the painful condition also. So pain is referred along the sciatica nerve, is called the sciatica. So there are so many regions for the sciatica. Most common region of sciatica is the prolapse of the intervertebral disc. Prolapse of the intervertebral disc is the most common cause. So whenever a person lifts some heavy weight or he or she pushes some heavy weight, then in the lumbar vertebra, because of the root value of the L4-5, these disc will be herniated, and that press the L4-5 root, and patient feel the root pain. So sciatica is the root pain of the spinal nerve, forming this sciatic nerve. And second, there may be fracture of the lumbar vertebra. So any accidental injury which is injuring the lumbar vertebra, either transverse process or other lamina or the spine of the lumbar vertebra or the body of the lumbar vertebra, with the displacement, any root of the L4-5 will be affected. Because we know this lumbar plexus is formed inside the psoas major muscle. So that is the lumbar vertebra involvement may be there. Or there may be fracture of the greater sciatic nose. As you know, greater sciatic nose is touched by the sciatic nerve. So accidental injury, fracture of the greater sciatic nerve can damage the sciatic nerve. Or fracture of the ilium bone, the dorsal surface where the sciatic nerve touches, may also damage it. Then in some of the cases, the sciatic nerve passes through the piriformis muscle. It is formed on the anterior surface of the piriformis, but in some individual, it doesn't come from the lower part of the piriformis, but it may pierce the piriformis fibers, and then it descend downward. So this is called the eventration of the sciatic nerve, and piriformis muscle contraction or the contraction may press this nerve, and this lead to the permanent pain around the sciatic nerve. So this may be because of the passage of the to the piriformis. So any of these reasons the patient may come with the complaint of the sciatic nerve. Then another reason which is very common reason is the compressive neuropathy or compression of the sciatic nerve beyond the lower border of the gluteus maximus. So if a person is sitting for prolonged period, just at the edge of the wooden chair, at the level of the lower part of the gluteus maximus, if the wooden chair is pressing, so it presses the sciatic nerve right here. Because you know, below the gluteus maximus lower border, sciatic nerve is having no any muscle covering it. It is naked here. So this edge of the hard chair will press this point. So this point is pressed by the wooden chair or any hard chair on which the patient is sitting at the edge of the chair. And for the 3-4 hours prolonged sitting in same posture, when the patient will get up to walk, suddenly he or she feels that he or she is unable to walk, because all the muscles below this point, they are undergo paralysis or weakness, plus as the posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh, which lies either posterior to the sciatic nerve or medial to it, is also pressed along with it, and patient feel the paresthesia or loss of sensation of pain, temperature, pressure and touch over the posterior part of the thigh. Skin of the thigh is numb or paresthesia is there. So both the motor as well as the sensory loss is there, but it is temporary because it is pressed because of the wrong posture of the person sitting at the edge of the chair or bench. So person is unable to walk, it assumes, but when the patient start walking, he can walk. So it is only the compression neuropathy. As the patient stands, the compression goes off, and within a second or few minutes, just a gentle massage over the sciatic nerve below the gluteal region will regain the muscle power, and patient is already walking. So that is what is the sciatic nerve is. So this is how we discuss with the two main modalities of the gluteal region. One is the intramuscular injection and the area preferred, and second is the sciatica. So that's all of the gluteal region. Thank you.